I'm Edward Humphreys. My main interests in life, or occupations in life, I'm a mathematician first, a classics philosopher second, and finally I do some work in cybersecurity. I'm a convener of one of the SC27 working groups, but I actually started work on ISO standards and was a convener in 1982, which is a long time ago. So without further ado, talking about myself, I would like to give you a presentation which talks about SC27 standards. So where does SC27 fit? Well, we sit in a technical committee called JDC1. There are many subcommittees, SCs in JDC1. We are just one of those. I've listed a few here on the screen. SC7 on software engineering, SC38 on cloud, SC40 IT service management, SC41, 42, and many others. But we are the committee, as our chair has just said, Andreas Wolf, that deals with information security, cybersecurity, and privacy protection. Within this structure, we have many liaison bodies that we associate with, which is, I've listed a few of those in the pink block there. We are involved with all the standards bodies that are members of our committee. And so collectively, we produce standards with lots of inputs, lots of feedback, lots of experts from many parts of the world, from different industries, etc. This is our committee as it stands today. We have 5 working groups. Working Group 1, which is on information security management systems, which I deal with. Working Group 2 on cryptography and security mechanisms. Working Group 3 on security evaluation, testing and specification. Working Group 4 on security controls and services, and Working Group 5 on identity management and privacy technologies. We also have a number of advisory groups that help to improve our working methods. We have a group on terminology and concepts. We have a group on trustworthiness. So collectively, this is our structure within SC27. The work program, this slide here is oriented towards ISMS. But what I've tried to do here is show that at the top here, we have the ISMS group of standards, and then we have sector specifics, security controls, identity management and privacy, and then at the bottom there, cryptographic techniques. So this slide shows how the ISMS standards are supported by many other standards, depending on the level of implementation you're going down to. We also have activities that deal with accreditation and certification, and of course, security evaluation and testing. So the 5 working groups collectively cover more or less all aspects of security as it relates to information security and cybersecurity and privacy protection. We're quite famous in SC27 for what I call the SC27 brand. This is a famous set of standards now. It's become a household name in many areas, in many communities and many businesses. Today, there are over 40 of these standards in this brand. This brand has become a common language. It cuts across all levels of information security management: generic markets, product markets, sector-specific markets, services, applications, and infrastructure. From the beginning of SC27 in 1990, we always had a management aspect. It was called GMITS, Guidelines for the Management of IT Security. But IT security evolved into information security, and that evolved into the standards such as 27001 and 27002 and all the others in the family. So this slide is a bit busy, but it shows you just the SC27 27001 family with the ISMS at the top, which is a requirement standard, followed by guidelines, followed by sector-specific standards for telecoms, for cloud, for utility industries, followed by many other types of standards, such as for governance, such as for cybersecurity. So this is the construct for the basic 27,000 family. Now, if we look across the other working groups in SC27, you'll see how all these join together. But before I do that, I must just mention this ISMS brand again. If you look on the ISO site, they classify standards as being very high profile, medium profile, and then a lot of other standards become just profiled standards. In SC27, we can boast two very high profile standards, 27001 and 2, a number of very high profile standards, and a number of medium profile standards. All these three categories, in essence, mean that these are the standards that ISO promote from various points of view. Not only are they bestsellers, but they're promoted in all countries in the world. They're cutting across all industries, irrespective of the size of the organization. Another group of standards, it comes from Working Group 4, and these also support the 27,000 family. These cover things such as IoT security and privacy, ICT readiness, internet security, network application security, security incidents, storage security, big data. So these are the next level down. These go into more detail to support what's in the top level ISMS group of standards. This is not the complete list of Working Group 4 standards, but it just shows you, gives you an illustration of the variety of standards that we have being developed. Within Working Group 2, which specializes on cryptography, we have a whole range of standards. Working Group 2 is an international center of excellence for cryptography. We have experts who are leading names in this field. And the standards that are produced in Working Group 2 cover everything from entity authentication, digital signatures, message authentication codes, through to lightweight cryptography, non-repudiation, and various other advances. So Working Group 2 provides yet another layer of standardization, a more detailed, more technically challenging area of standardization. Sorry, these slides get a little bit busy. Working Group 3 is on security evaluation, testing, and specification. It started its journey in SC27 as being the working group that dealt with a very famous standard called the Common Criteria, 15408. But it's moved on from that, and it's gone into all sorts of areas of security evaluation, testing, and specification, through to looking at assurance for cybersecurity. And finally, our working group 5 deals with identity management and privacy technology. And again, I've only listed a few of these standards. This group I like to think of as the future of privacy protection standards. It is our future when it comes to privacy standardization. Our future in the sense of as citizens and as business people. It has a number of important developments. The most recent one is 27701, which is an extension of our ISMS standard 27001, but it deals specifically with privacy information management. Now, of the 3 streams that we'll see later, Working Group 2 on cryptography is in the first stream. Working Group 3 features quite highly in Stream 2 on security evaluation, and in Stream 3, protection, privacy protection, privacy technology standardization will feature in Stream 3. So we're in the age of so-called cybersecurity. There are lots of terms still being defined. We have in SC27 a group of standards called the 27100 series. I've pulled out 3 definitions here that are currently in these standards for cybersecurity, cyberspace, and cyber risk. We are venturing into a new world in SC27, this new world of cybersecurity. And it cuts across all of our lives. It cuts across digital economies, innovative technologies, infrastructure. It cuts across the governance, not only of organizations, but governments, and also the internet itself. This graph here is an updated version of the graph produced by the World Economic Forum. And when we talk about risk, we talk about it in a very broad context. We have environmental risks, economic risks, technology risks, societal risks, and geopolitical risks. Cyberspace sees none of these as important over the other. They're all equally challenging risks that we need to look at. And SC27 does its bit when it gets to cybersecurity and cyber risk and technology risks. But we must not ignore the fact that there are all these other types of risk that are all embedded within cyberspace. One of the important challenges is risk management. Within SC27, we have a number of standards that deal with risk management. This slide shows you how we deal with risk from a 27001 perspective. We align our risk management activities with other standards that are more generic across ISO, those that are found in the so-called 31000 series. But we do have standards that go through the steps of risk management, from assessing the risk to treating the risk, and having a set of controls that we can look at to mitigate these risks. So cyberspace risk management is very, very important. And we're doing our bit within SC27 to try to help with standards. Cyberspace risk is all about threats and risks. And these are two different things and need to be treated differently. But both of these cut across information, people, processes, services, applications, and technology. We can't leave any of these out. We need to look at them as an integrated whole. The threats are not only to our technology and our businesses, but they're also to society and consumers in general. And of course, more importantly, for all of us collectively, is national infrastructure. The impact is varied. It can be operational risks, financial losses, disruption, damage to systems. The destructive power of a cyber attack we've seen many times over many years. But in this year of COVID-19, the increase in cyber risks has been a challenge for all of us. The exploitation of this pandemic has given rise to many forms of and variants of risks to our information systems and our information and to our technology. So we need to limit the disruptive and destructive energy and impact of a cyber attack. We need to put in cyber defense, preparedness, response, and recovery. And within SC27, we have a number of standards. I'll just mention again Working Group 4, which deals with incident handling and preparedness for cyber attacks. So cyber threats and risk management, they come in all forms. The basic attacks to our confidentiality, integrity and availability of information, personal data attacks, social engineering, denial of service. And we need to put something in front of that to stop these attacks penetrating into commercial organizations, public utilities, government, non-profit organizations, etc. And we hope within SC27 that we're helping the international community to thwart and mitigate against the risks that these threats pose to our organizations. Of course, we're forever seeing the emergence of innovative technologies, sometimes referred to as disruptive technologies. And again, within ISO and it's in SC27, we're trying to look at emerging technologies and how security standards will help. To give one example, IoT, the Internet of Things, has now become quite a hot topic within SC27. And we need to look at the security and privacy when it comes to the use of IoT. We need to focus our thoughts on effective, appropriate, and adequate cyber risk management if we are to mitigate against some of the risks that we see in our real lives as citizens, consumers, and in business. So basically, our information security, cybersecurity, and privacy standards are there to mitigate risks. We need to reduce and minimize the risks. We need to protect our investment in the products, systems, and services and infrastructure that we've built and use. And we need to provide confidence, assurance in those systems and the products and the services. When it comes to demonstrating that the security you have is good enough, fit for purpose, then another aspect of SC27, of course, is conformity assessment. There are many concerns of society regarding cyberspace. There are many business objectives of working within cyberspace. 27001 provides one means of conformity assessment. It's done from an information security perspective. 27701, the new standards that it's emerged, does the same thing for privacy protection. Conformity assessment builds trust, it builds confidence, and it builds assurance. Currently, we have two strands within SC27. We have the management system strand, which is through certification, and we have the other strand, which is evaluation testing of IT security, which is the topic that's dealt with in our working group 3, and it's the topic that we looked at in stream 2 of this conference. So we do have these two strands, the strand of management system certification and audits, and product certification, testing and evaluation. They both in their own way provide confidence, build confidence through the mechanism of audit and testing and evaluation. And confidence building is very important in this world we live in. Confidence that we can apply to our business, confidence that we can provide to customers, consumers, and to ourselves as citizens. So cybersecurity certification is at the management system level, but it's also at the product, services, and process level. But there's a third level, but I'd just briefly like to mention, and that is personnel. There are schemes for recognizing the competence, skills, and knowledge of personnel working in the security industry. So these are the three main strands of cybersecurity certification. At the management system level, giving independent assurance, demonstration of organization's implementation, confidence in the operation of the organization, personnel recognizing competence, that they're fit to do their work, they have the knowledge and skills to do their work in an area of security. And lastly, product, services, and processes, looking at those products, systems of products, those devices, and having those evaluated and certified and accredited in some way. So this is a very quick overview of SC27. For those that don't belong to SC27, we do have a standing document, which is an overview of all the standards that we have produced within SC27. And there are in the region of about 200 standards that we have been engaged in over many years. And we will continue to develop standards. We will continue to address the demands of the market, the challenges of cyber risks. So we haven't stopped our work. Our work will go on for many years to come. So I hope that gave you some overview, a reasonably brief overview, I have to say, of what we do in SC27. You'll hear more of some of these subjects in the three streams. So you'll hear more from some of my colleagues from SC27 in stream 1 on cryptography. You'll hear more in stream 2 on security evaluation from my colleagues in working group 3. And finally, in stream 3, you'll hear more from my colleagues in Working Group 5, where the topic of privacy protection will be discussed. So with that, thank you for listening.